All right, so here we are. We're live. I'm Michael Stewart Heath, and we're going to be talking today for 20-30 minutes about question 1 on the Maine ballot. And on the 4th of November, Maine people are going to go to the polls, both those who are registered and mostly those who are unregistered and illegal, and vote. And that giggle you hear in the background, I'll bring him in, is Jack McCarthy, the expert on all things constitutional. And I'm calling on him today to help us sort out what in the world is going on with this. This is the ballot question. Let me make that a little bigger so you can follow along. This is the most convoluted and ridiculous question for a ballot I think I've ever seen. And of course, the reason for that is the Secretary of State, who doesn't support this, is given the exclusive right to word the question. So you can expect it to be totally confusing. Do you want to change Maine election laws to eliminate 2 days of absentee voting, prohibit requests for absentee ballots by phone or family members, and ongoing absentee voter status for seniors and people with disabilities, ban prepaid postage on absentee ballot return envelopes, limit the number of drop boxes, require voters to show certain photo ID before voting, and make other changes to our elections? What? That is so pathetic. So pathetic. Jack McCarthy, the Maine's most popular right-wing political activist.
Yeah. Just reading that literally makes my skin crawl. Unbelievable.
Have you read? Yeah, go ahead.
Do you know that that's the second draft? They rejected the first draft that she made, which was even worse than that.
Right. And back when I was doing this kind of stuff, kind of running the populism idea, I think that the Secretary of State had exclusive rights to word the question. There wasn't any way to appeal it. I think they changed that along the way. So she had to run it by somebody, which is that's good.
Well, I think it wasn't that she had to run it by somebody. The people that initiated the petition rejected it. Said, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, but they can't. They didn't used to have that power, as far as I know.
Well, I don't think they really do have the power. I think they threatened that they would sue for. Okay. So I think she rewrote it only because of the pressure, but it's unbelievably convoluted. It's the most convoluted piece of junk I ever saw.
That's one thing that's changed since I left the Christian Civic League, is the right, Laura Libby's right, and what's his name? He just left the Christian Civic League, and I don't know who the new guy is, but they've got a lot more money to work with than I ever had. Pretty interesting. They raise a ton of money. Libby does, Laura Libby. They raise a ton of money through these little evangelical churches holding little potlucks. They call it the group called the dinner table, and she kind of runs the hard-hitting side of the religious right vote in Maine, and then the Civic League kind of keeps things polite and nice looking and blow-dried.
Alex Titcomb is one of the prime movers in that, and a lot of people are involved in it. The dinner table, and I'm certainly not going to denigrate it, but I haven't joined it because I believe that it's controlled, very controlled, and so
that's my point. It's controlled by money. I know the feeling because I was controlled by money. I was there's so little money for right of center politics. At least there was when I was doing it, and I think it's still the case. If you throw the right wing of politics in Maine up against the left wing, there's no comparison in terms of the amount of money that's available to run a political narrative and run a political campaign. The people on the right have to penny pinch, and it's usually just really hard, especially for the morally minded folks, right of center. Left of center, the church of the left is the woke crowd. It's the sexual orientation, baby murdering crowd, and there's endless funds for that stuff. Endless.
Well, kudos, very, very good kudos to Laura Libby for sticking her neck out there. Now, you can criticize her for grandstanding and this is political theater, but she's raised a lot of awareness, and therefore she's been able to raise money that we couldn't do before. I mean, she stuck her neck out. She jumped in the fray over the little boys and little girls' bathrooms, and by golly, it worked. And she got very little support from the conservative right in the legislature. Because I got in big trouble for coming against those guys for not running down there and taking the side next to her. Oh, well, I fully supported that.
I fully supported her for that, and the other guy there who stood up. My own legislator, I can never remember his name, but he took a very strong stand on abortion and he got in trouble. He got censored. I think that was the year before. You remember his name?
I never remember it.
I have such a strong allergy to politicians, all of them now, that I don't put much effort into remembering their names. So anyway, Paul Medore has joined us. There he is, sitting in the dark. Can you hear me, Paul Medore?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, and I can hear you. So,
hello, Jack, how you doing?
Hi, Paul. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, so we've been talking politics, Laura Libby Dinner Club, yada yada yada. So, question one, which I read.
Dinner table.
What did I say?
Yeah.
Dinner club.
How have you been, Jack?
I'm good. Hey, Paul, that's good. Turn that light up. I want to see your face, man.
Yeah. Don't you love the internet? Jack McCarthy has finally gotten to the point with his technology where I can see him and hear him kind of somewhat reliably.
At the same time.
So,
At
Jack,
the same time.
You're not living out of that van, are you?
Well, that's the next step. No. But I could, and that was the plan. If I had to, I could.
So here we are, three old horses here in politics in Maine, right of center, going back 30, 40 years, jabbering about question one. So Jack, have you decided how you're going to vote on it? Question one on the floor.
Yes, I know I'm going to vote yes. Only because there's no other way to vote on this stupid thing, and
Well, you can do it under protest, you know.
That's exactly right. Under duress. I'm voting under duress.
Sure. Why not?
So tell us the source of the duress. By the way, if I take time to vote, then I'll probably vote yes.
Don't give me that bullshit.
I'll probably vote yes if I take time to vote. But anyway, the reason that I would do it under duress is because the centralization of digital identity and the centralization of data points by the government, local, state, and national, especially national. I'm beyond not trusting it. I want to burn it all down. If it has anything to do with spreadsheets.
Sure.
Yeah, spreadsheets or databases that are digital, and it has the fingerprints of the government on it. I'm beyond wanting to fix it. I want to burn it down. Now, I know you're listening, CIA and FBI and all that stuff, and you've already been to my house once before. Come on again if you want. Come on again and run your little camera in your glasses while you're talking to me, so you can add the video.
Little Kodaks.
Anyway, Jack, what's your duress thing? And by the way, have you ever gotten the knock on the door from the FBI yet? No.
I plead the fifth. And that's why I'm in my van. I'm not in my house. And you can't track me, and this phone isn't mine.
Is that the same van? Is that the same van I saw you in last time? Or have you upgraded?
No, it's an upgrade. This is a larger economy size, or lack of economy size, I guess.
So you're gonna vote yes under duress. What's your reason?
Okay, pretty much the same as yours. There's no such thing as a state driver's license since Real ID went into effect, and in Maine, since they voted to accept Real ID about 7 years ago, even though in 2007, Maine voted to reject Real ID.
Well, I got to split for a minute. I got to go put gas in my wood splitter. I'll be right back.
All right, you're removed.
You're splitting wood? Your wood splitter running without you? Okay.
He has a guy helping him. Go ahead.
That's good. Send him up to help me. So Real ID has federalized what's supposed to be a state-run issue.
I know, and it pisses me off. So I want to go back to what you just said. So Maine is sort of on the record on both sides.
Yes.
It sounds like. So, and it started with the photo ID, the Maine photo ID, which we're all familiar with now on our driver's licenses. And then the political class said, we don't want Real ID, right? We don't.
Right.
Right.
Right. They rejected it.
They rejected it. But now we have Real ID, and explain specifically how do we have it? It's through the driver's license, right?
Absolutely. Because the under Patriot Act and Homeland Security and here comes Real ID, all comes under the Patriot Act, all because of the Patriot Act. So they federalized, they made all state licenses have to be in compliance with federal regulations and federal database, which also means federal facial recognition.
Ugh.
Okay, so Maine in 2007 rejected that on the basis of the price of changing over to this behemoth of the database and facial recognition, and all that was going to increase expenses, and they fought it on the idea that there was a mandate, an unfunded mandate, and won. Okay, so move the calendar forward 10 years, more than that, 12 years, I think, and the federal pressure was you either comply or we're gonna cut your funding. Okay. So
now we've heard that about a gazillion times. Go ahead.
Yeah, no kidding. So when it just happened to be that I was in the Augusta area on the day that the Transportation Safety Committee was meeting to discuss Real ID vote that was going to have to happen. So somebody called me, sent me a text, whatever, and said, you're there, or you're going to be there. You should go to the thing. So I said, oh, okay. So it just so happened that I pulled in, and they were doing the National Transportation Safety Committee hearing was underway. So I went in, it was just starting, and I went in and I saw Matt Dunlap in the hallway.
Former Secretary of State, right? Go ahead.
Correct. And we're on a first name basis because we've crossed swords. Good and bad. Good and bad. I have a great respect for the guy, except he doesn't know which bathroom I'm supposed to use. But
yeah, right.
So I quick went to where he was as I saw the media coming towards him. I beat myself to him before the media got to him, and I grabbed his arm and I said, "Are we still on the same page?" Absolutely, nothing's changed. Okay. So he went and did his little interview with the media, and then we went into the hearing. So he was on the left side as usual, and I was on the right side as usual. And I was sitting right at the end of the horseshoe where Rick Sebra, great conservative Rick Sebra,
I remember
was
Rick.
sitting.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah. Okay. So it was getting late. The hearing was progressing, and I figured if I don't get up pretty soon, they're going to be starting to walk out. So I stood up to head for the podium, and at the same time as Matt Dunlap.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, so we had this, it was great fun. He's coming from the left and I'm coming from the right towards the center. What a picture that was. Okay. So we did a little genuflect back and forth. No, you, no, you, no. I said, no. Secretary of State certainly takes precedent. Please, sir. And so he stepped up to the podium. He gave them about an 8-minute oratory on the Fourth Amendment and the destructive nature of Real ID. It was incredible. I could never touch what he did.
Mm-hmm.
So Rick Sebra, sitting on the end, Secretary of State Dunlap ended and asked if there were any questions. There was a question or two. And then Sebra knew that I was coming up next. So Rick Sebra, the conservative giant on the committee, asked Matt Dunlap a question to discredit me.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that. Imagine that. Okay. So as soon as I got to the podium, Rick Sebra left the room.
Yeah.
You know? And I said all that to say that it's not a right-left issue. It's a constitutional issue. And Real ID destroys the Fourth Amendment.
It's a moral issue. It's a moral
issue.
And
it's a constitutional issue.
Right. And that's why Rick Sebra did what he did. And that has been the mode of operation, Paul is back, of the Republican Party forever. The Republican Party in Maine and in America has no morals. There's no more. They don't make moral arguments. They make economic arguments.
I get more resistance from the Republicans than I do from the Democrats. The Democrats just blow me off.
Right.
Or walk away. The Republicans will try to cut your knees off.
And the Democrats don't make moral arguments either. The Democrats are now full on satanic. They're evil. The Democrats have fallen from being political into being religiously evil without any morality in it whatsoever. And the Republican Party is totally economic. There's no moral argument. They never make a moral argument. And anybody who's willing to make a moral argument, like you, Jack, or me, or Paul Madore in Lewiston. So, Jack, you're in
That's been the problem all along. That it's iconic, really, for the Republican Party not to make a moral argument. This is why it's full of shit.
Yeah, it's right. It's why it's going to.
You heard me all the way up in Aroostook County.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Shit.
Well, they wanted me to be on the platform committee again, and I said I want to be on the platform committee only if we're going to put some teeth in it. I don't mean guillotine teeth. I mean little baby teeth. Anything, little baby teeth to hold people accountable.
It's no damn good, and it never will be. Okay, not until they've lost all their freedoms.
Yeah,
and then they can't. And then they can't. And the argument against anything, I wrote what I thought was a really weak set of teeth for the platform. Just a simple.
Jack, let me see your teeth.
They're old, but they're there.
They're still there.
They're still there. They're all mine. They're all mine. But the argument that I got in the conservative Aroostook County Republican Committee was, well, we can't really endorse that because there's other places where, downstate where they can't hold to the platform as much as we'd like them to. What? What? What?
So why are we wasting our time?
Exactly. So I didn't attend any of the meetings. Don't care, because they're going to argue about it. They're going to spend 4, 5, 6 hours at the convention on the platform, and the next day it's a piece of paper that goes in the trash. Susan Collins and Olympia Snow said so on TV. Hello.
And made people put up with it because they tell themselves that this is how we win. The only way that we can save Maine is by listening to these arguments from the Republicans.
It's called accompaniment. We have to accompany them to the dance. Of course, they see us as being taken to the dance. We're being taken to the dance. If you're ever taken to a dance, you got to dance. You know, you got to.
Yeah, well, I want to dance. When I dance with them, I want to bite them on the ear. I'm so tired of it. Look, okay. We need to get back to the voter ID issue. But when I got in big trouble, I thought I was going to get all kinds of at least support from my own local area when they introduced the lesbian with her wife at a state committee meeting. And I'm going, who's this? Who's allowing this? And the answer I got from Demi was, well, she's not killing babies. I said, really? That's the litmus test? You can be anything you want as long as you don't kill babies?
Oh, bye-bye, Demi. Bye-bye, Demi.
Yeah, well, wait, you know what hasn't changed? And you've been around long enough to know this, Paul.
I was there when we booted her out. I was on the state committee.
Let's go back to when Rick Bennett was the state committee chair, who's now running as an independent.
I was there when he was there. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I thought so. And who else was there? Rick Savage, or Savage, right?
Yep.
Jason Savage.
Jason Savage. He's still there.
Yeah, he's still there. Now, isn't that interesting? We've gone through Rick Bennett, Rick Sebra, Demi Kucinich, Joel Stetkus, and another guy, and we're failing and failing and failing, but we keep changing things except for Jason. Oh, wait a minute. Jason blackballed Mike Heath. Let me see now. Maybe Jason's the problem, you morons.
Yeah. Yeah, I would argue that we might have helped LePage win that race if we'd had an interesting primary, but it was a coronation.
Exactly.
And I ran into so much insanity that was led by Jason Savage.
That's right.
That it just became. If I'd had more money, I would have continued, but there wasn't any continuing without.
Let's go back to the real ID so people can pay attention. Real ID is facial recognition, and people say, "Well, I opted out." Really? So when you got your picture taken from the DMV for your new non-real ID license, did they use a different camera? Did they use the old camera? No, sorry. They used the facial rec camera so that your digital ID is in the federal database. People, there's no difference. They don't give a rat's patootie what you elect to do as long as you're in the database. So all your stuff is in the database, but you didn't get the little fancy emblem on your plastic card. See? They lied. And now there's a bunch that are saying, well, let's repeal real ID. Yep. Now that we got you all in the database, we don't need real ID, folks. The con is in place. We've been conned. So if this passes, I'm going to be in kind of a pickle because I don't have one of those things. Even the non-real ID one I don't have. And so I'm going to go vote as soon as it goes through the next time. What are they going to do? They're going to check my ID. I have to have a state-issued, current, non-expired identification card. What do we do? You can't vote anymore, Mr. McCarthy. Really? Okay, I can't vote. I've been voting for 50 years, more than that. Holy smokes. Crowding 60 years. So I can't vote? Really? So I'm going to show them a federal ID that's over 50 years old, and they're going to reject it because it's not on their list. Then I can sue them for deprivation of rights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeehaw! This could be fun. Where'd Paul go?
Sounds like a good plan. I have no idea. He just dropped off. So, question
You need
one.
better internet.
No, whatever.
Okay, so how's this going to work? So
yeah, good question. I'm glad that you're going to test it, and you've got a plan.
Well, that's the only plan I've got. It's not much, but it's something.
Yeah.
I just happened to. I went and found that to travel, your real ID restriction on your travel, supposedly my merchant mariner's document is sufficient, but they're talking about current merchant mariner's document. Mine's an antique, but it doesn't have an expiration date on it, so I'm going to test it.
That's a good idea.
Well, it's got my picture from 1978, 79. So it's
everybody in Maine needs to wake up.
Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. What faces your children and your grandchildren especially is slavery. And if you don't start pushing back now on issues like this, they are going to come under the control of this international cabal that Trump is down for, and the Democrats are down for, and that Trump is doing more than Biden ever dreamed of to create it, to create this centralized global database.
Folks, do you not comprehend that digital ID, your digital fingerprint, your digital facial rec for your digital federal driver's license is connected to your digital banking, your digital central bank?
Right. That's right.
Whatever that is, central bank digital currency. Come on, people. You think they separate it? There's a reason.
The answer, Jack, is for politicians in Maine to have their feet held to the fire to declare that they're going to use their power, their authority, to make Maine a state where people can choose not to be digital at all and still live. Still buy food, get food, still vote, still be a human being, still be a Maine citizen, and that cash will be available forever. Maine politicians, it's to the point where that's what we have to demand. We have to demand that our government is going to preserve cash or some form of money that isn't digital, and that Maine citizens don't have to own a computer, don't have to own a phone, don't have to have an internet connection in order to live. And they're going to have to, the politicians and the committees, they may have to form a new committee, a new standing committee in the legislature to work on this, because it's going to be the most important issue we face legally and politically and culturally and even religiously. This is going to be the most important issue. This is going to sweep away everything else, because the closer we get to 2030, the more this is going to bite us in the ass. The more this is going to bite us. And
they've already, this is effectively destroying the entire Bill of Rights.
Right.
Okay.
It's destroying freedom as America has tried to live it since the Revolution, since 1776.
You mean the first No King's Day? The first No King's Day.
Right. The first No King's Day.
No king but
Jack,
King.
We're an experiment. We're an experiment in Republican form of government that respects the freedom the liberty of the individual citizen. That's what America is. It's an experiment. It's been an experiment since the beginning. The guys who put it all together said that. They pretty much admitted this. In fact, was it John Adams, Jack, or Paul, who said, this doesn't work if the citizens don't choose to be moral people. If the citizens don't choose to be,
yeah.
If they don't choose, I think it was John Adams. But anyway, we can.
No, maybe it was. Yeah.
We can AI it and that'll tell us the truth.
No, it was Adams. It was Adams.
It was Adams. Yeah. So if the citizens don't choose to be moral in this experiment in Republican constitutional, I don't even like democracy anymore because the left has so perverted it, then we will not be able to keep it. America will not be. It's not going to work. That's what they said. And here we are, and it ain't working.
It's on life support. It's definitely on life support, and we're right at the very edge. They have destroyed.
One of the reasons why I don't show up at these demonstrations is because it's giving them credibility. They're a waste of time now. You want to let them go out there, go out into the streets, the No Kings protests and all that. I mean, if they want to throw each other over the bridge, I'd let them. There's nobody to engage anymore. Everybody that's on that side is on the wrong side. I kind of wonder why Blanchett, Corn Pop, went out on the bridge the way he did, and I respect him for it. But what do you do at a No Kings rally? They're all losers. They're all communist. They're communist.
I tried to ask why Christians and why Christian pastors weren't taking up on this No Kings movement. You should be grabbing a bullhorn, and you should be out there with all of us. I could not do it. There was something else that came up, and I had prior, but I would have been out there with a bullhorn. Yeah, I love your No Kings thing. You remember when this started? It's no king but King Jesus, people. Right. And I support you 100%. No king but King Jesus. So where does this come from?
That's a good
you say we don't know how to do that. We don't know how to fight fire with fire. We're going to go talk to them about, you got to get saved. No, moron. It's not going to work that way.
Nick Blanchard, Corn Pop, did that in Augusta, got himself arrested, and he's now talking about bringing legal action, consequences to the police officers who arrested him. They arrested him in order to diffuse the situation. They took him down to the police station, and they released him without charging him. So, to his credit, he's not going to drop it. And that's what we got to do.
That's what we need. We have to be rigid. We can't comply. We can't give in. We can't compromise. See, we watched something from face.net, this training thing, and the original compromises, it stood out to me so strongly that good men, righteous men, compromised and came up with an equally righteous outcome. Today, that can't happen because you cannot compromise with evil. When you compromise with evil, the analogy that I use is you put a teaspoon of tea in my coffee and I demand that you take it out. I can't get it out. I can't get your damn tea out of my coffee. We can't compromise with evil, people. And we do it every day. I'm sick of it.
We do it every day so that we can keep food on the table and keep a job. And my career started with me standing against sodomy and doing it in the most polite way I could think of, and in the most effective way that the Christian Civic League of Maine could think of, which Jack and even back then, because we chose to use the referendum as a populist mechanism, which Jack, do you think the referendum should be just repealed and gotten rid of? Is that your position?
No. Well, that would be my strongest position, but that's not going to happen, and it's not practical. My real position is fix it, bring it into constitutional compliance, whereby in order to override, which is what the referendum process is, the referendum process is a way for the citizens to override the legislature and the governor with a simple majority vote. That's wrong. If you're going to override, and I agree, there's a place to be able to override an illegitimate or an out of control rogue government, but that requires a supermajority. And if we could fix that, then I would be really supportive of the referendum process. And that's why I just got a call from somebody about the girls and boys, the boys and girls bathrooms referendum. They're going to put that up. They started it all up. Okay, if I can run it so that we get 66% of the vote, I'm for it. But you're going to have to let me promote the idea that we have to have a super majority in order for this to be valid.
And your reasoning for that would be to focus the power for the legal power, the power to make laws. You want to see it. You want to see it focused in the representatives, the elected representatives, as opposed to populism.
Yes,
so
I'm all for the populism. The populism is a super way to bring pressure on the legislature. If the legislature is unresponsive, then populism is a way to override it.
Yeah.
But an override takes 66%. Okay.
Yeah.
So if we could get this through, this gender thing through with a 66% majority, that would give us a platform to say, see, this is so important that 66% of the people agreed with it. Therefore, it is a legitimate override. So if we could do that, it would give us a better foothold.
What if we were to, instead of increasing the majority to 66%, develop a set of rules that made it more difficult for a small cabal to fund a signature drive? In other words, if we focused on the money that is now being focused on referendums in Maine because it's so cheap here, because we have two small media markets and a small population.
I think they'd get around it.
Okay.
No matter what law you pass, they would get around it. If you made it more difficult, it would cost them more money.
If we did that, then what the Christian Civic League of Maine was able to do effectively, which was slow down the implementation, slow down the injection of sexual orientation into the Maine Human Rights Act, we would not have been able to do that because we didn't have the money. We relied on volunteers to spin that up, and the votes were always razor thin at about 50%, because even though the other side put a lot more money into it than we did, we still had the heart and in a sense, the soul of Maine people that got us to 51% in those two votes. So that's the thought that I have when I think about that, because what I experienced professionally and personally during those years was the imbalance of money compared to volunteer energy and moral angst, moral passion that drove what we did, what the Christian Civic League of Maine did.
Wait a minute. If it's a lack of money, then why don't we get some of Ken Copeland's $320 million or TD Fake's $42 million? Why do we have a problem with raising money for real issues? Oh, wait a minute. Joel Osteen, I'm sure Joel will write you a check for $3 or $4 million to make sure we got a moral law passed. Oh, wait.
Well, I can do you one better. I didn't have any money. I end up with the big money, right? Focus on the family. And Dobson's in the room, and there's about 50 of us representing the states of America. And I was at the tail end of that people's veto. And he made the mistake of asking the question, "What can we do to help?" And I stood up and said, "Well, you can send us some money." He got so mad at me. He got mad at me for
Dobson?
asking for money.
Personally, really?
Dobson. He got mad at me for asking for money. And that's been my experience all along the way with the national pro-family movement or the national Republican movement. Is
unless you water it down, then you can get the Masons to fund it.
Well, right now what's happening in Maine is on this woke cult issue in politics, where they're sticking kitty litter boxes the public school classrooms, it's so insane, permission has been granted to fight over trannyism. But the real issue is much deeper than that, much broader than that, and much more real than that. And it has a lot to do with with sexual orientation. We need to get that out of the Human Rights Act. We may need to just repeal the Human Rights Act. But again, we're going for the low-hanging fruit. Good for you. For when they called you, they're going to spin up another referendum. And the reason they're going to spin up another referendum, this time just on trannies, is because they can raise money on it. Laurel Libby can raise money on it. The dinner party will give money for that. Yep. And that's why they're doing it. It's for money. It's so they can get your $50 or your $10 or whatever you can afford. I won't be giving. I won't give.
I don't think this one's Laurel. This one is being spearheaded by Heidi Sampson.
Yeah. So same difference. I mean, I used to be there, and money is a part of the equation. It has to be if you're going to be realistic.
I get it.
Has to. But the Bible says you got to look right in the New Testament. Look at the army that's coming at you and do an assessment, do a realistic assessment before you commit.
If the church in general was doing its job or was paying attention or really gave a crap one way or the other, you should be able to instantly raise an army of volunteers and instantly be able to get 65-70% of the vote on some of these real issues. Shouldn't be a problem.
But Christian leadership has failed us in the West.
Zero.
They have failed us because they don't act like leadership with a moral argument to make. They act like politicians who have to come up with some kind of perfect narrative or rhetoric to keep Christianity relevant. And that's why Christianity is so weak, and it's getting weaker because our leadership doesn't just simply declare the moral, historic, and traditional, and philosophically and metaphysically persuasive and rigorous arguments. They just don't do it, especially when it comes to politics. They run and hide. They just run and hide.
Well, you send me $100 and God will put magically $1,000 in your bank account. Yeehaw. Instead of you send me $100 and we're going to defeat this thing. We're going to beat them right into the ground. We're not going to have lunch with the enemy. We're going to utterly destroy them. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. That's judgmental. Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, exactly. Christianity has lost its power, not because it's been taken away from it so much as it's surrendered. It's surrendered it. It exists. It exists. It ate
the estrogen. It ate the estrogen. Come on.
Exactly. It exists. It exists more like a superstition in Maine than like a religion. A religion is not a superstition. It's real. It's part of reality. Religion exists all over the world in different forms. It's a very real category, and it's not a superstition. A superstition is something else. Christianity is a religion, so we need to take that seriously.
One of the guys in the huddle, every time something came up like that, he would always interject that on Coach that they're the Satanic Social Club.
Yeah, that's what we're dealing with.
Yep.
So anyway, I've gone longer. I said I was going to keep it to 20 or 30 minutes. We lost Paul, so I'm going to wrap it up so that you can see this on archive. You can share it, and it can't be censored if you go and get it on michaelheath.tv. It's also on YouTube, but God only knows how long it'll be there because they delete videos, they delete whole accounts. You also may be able to find it on X, but they're equally censorious. Especially when it comes to Christian morality. So if you want to be sure that the link is going to work when you send it to somebody, go to michaelheath.tv and send them that link, and then it'll work. And you might want to get this around to friends and family before the election. Give them something to chew on. So we're voting yes. We're voting yes, Jack. If I
under
go
duress.
vote.
Under duress.
and you're gonna go vote. Last time I voted I got into a little fracas with whatever they call the leader at the ballot place, because when I went to feed my ballot into the machine, I said, this machine, I commented to somebody near me, this machine is connected to China, the Chinese Communist Party, through that thermostat over there on the wall. That's so why would I? And so they kind of shepherded me out of the ballot.
Well, one of the primary reasons that I'm even going to vote on the 4th is, number one, I'm going to vote late in the day so they don't have time to stuff the ballots on one day, one person thing. But
yep.
the question 2 issue is critical. They're trying to put a red flag law in place, and that really nails the coffin shut.
Yeah.
So we got to vote no on that sucker. So
yes on 1, no on 2. 2 is about guns and taking them away, and that's going to draw a lot of conservatives to the polls.
Right.
It'll definitely help, because this is a low turnout election. This is a municipal election, so this is
nothing.
What 30% of people will vote.
Tops.
So yeah. So yes on 1, no on 2 is where we're at. Thanks for joining us, Jack. Thank you for taking time. Love to Mercy, who's sitting next to you there, doing her work. There she is. All right. Say hi to Cindy, and
I will. Thank you.
And God bless you. Hang on, I'm just going to end the stream.